When Liam heard a strange noise outside his house, he thought he was imagining things. Every time he looked out the window, he saw nothing, just his empty yard. But soon, he started catching glimpses of a tail vanishing into the bushes, and a chilling realization began to settle over him. Something was circling his home. Then, his front door began to shake, as if something was trying to break in. Fear gripped him as he braced himself to call for help. But just as he was about to dial the emergency number, a new thought crossed his mind, making him hesitate. Liam, a dedicated writer, had recently returned home to care for his ailing father. Although his father's health improved, Liam decided to stay longer, finding comfort in being close to family. However, the success of his latest book put unexpected pressure on him, turning his days into an isolating cycle of writing. He moved to his own place to work uninterrupted, pouring all his energy into his book, and as a result, grew increasingly distant from his friends. One quiet afternoon, as he typed away, Liam heard the strange sound again, a faint ticking, mixed with a sliding noise. Dismissing it at first, he eventually rose to investigate, but found nothing. Later that evening, as he lay in bed, the noise haunted him, keeping him awake. By morning, he convinced himself to ignore it, hoping it would go away. But the strange occurrences only intensified. With his hunger gnawing at him, he hesitated to leave the house for groceries, fearing it would waste valuable writing time. Instead, he ordered in, hoping to shake off the unease. Yet, no sooner had he settled back at his desk than he was once again distracted by the noise. Determined to solve the mystery, Liam set up a chair by the window, hoping to catch a glimpse of whatever was lurking outside. An hour passed with no sign of movement, and just as he was ready to give up, something rustled in the bushes. Liam leaned closer, holding his breath, straining his eyes to see clearly. His heart raced as he caught sight of something larger than he'd anticipated, a creature slowly circling his house. It seemed like an animal, but its size was baffling. He hesitated, fearing he might scare it away, yet he couldn't resist the urge to look closer. As he approached the window, Liam's heart sank in shock. He stumbled backward, unable to believe what he'd just seen. A snake, an enormous snake, was slithering around his house, its body so large it seemed impossible. It was circling his home methodically, as if searching for a way inside. Liam's disbelief quickly turned to terror. He doubted anyone would believe him if he told them about this monstrous creature outside. Desperate for help, he decided to call the police, hoping they'd understand the severity of the situation. But when he described the snake to the officer, they merely chuckled, mistaking his call for a prank. Frustrated and alone, Liam felt his hope fade. The police weren't coming. That night, thoughts of the snake kept him awake, filling his mind with nightmares of it crashing through his windows. By morning, he was exhausted, but resolute. If no one else would help him, he'd have to face the snake himself. With determination, Liam prepared himself to confront the creature. He gathered anything that could serve as a weapon, sharp tools, heavy objects, and dressed in his thickest clothes as makeshift armor. Steeling himself, he approached the door and carefully peered through the peephole. The snake was still there, coiled quietly in the bushes. But something felt different. The snake wasn't moving. Liam tapped on the window to see if it would react, but it stayed completely still. Heart pounding, he wondered if it was asleep or, worse, lying in wait. Just as he was mustering the courage to open the door, the snake suddenly sprang to life, pounding its head against the door. Liam's heart raced as he watched the creature's relentless assault on his door. What was it trying to do? He crouched down and peered out through the peephole again, realizing with a jolt of insight what might be happening. Hey. Feeling foolish for not realizing it sooner, Liam finally understood the snake's behavior. Gathering his courage, he opened the door, hoping he'd interpreted the situation correctly. This was his chance to confront the creature and, perhaps, resolve the mystery. To his astonishment, as soon as the door opened, he saw not just the snake, but also familiar faces emerging from behind the bushes. His friends were there, laughing and giggling as they revealed their prank. They had created a fake snake to startle him, hoping the distraction would snap him out of his writing obsession. Liam's initial reaction was a mix of anger and relief. His friends' laughter echoed in his ears as he took in the absurdity of the situation. They had gone to great lengths to pull off this elaborate prank, complete with a lifelike snake prop designed to terrify him. But instead of joining in on the joke, Liam felt a wave of frustration. After days of fear and sleepless nights, he wasn't exactly in the mood for laughter. "What were you thinking?" he demanded, his voice strained. His friends, realizing he wasn't amused, quickly explained their intentions. They had noticed how isolated he'd become since starting his book, barely leaving his house or speaking to anyone. They thought this prank might shake him out of his self-imposed solitude and give him a reason to take a break from his intense writing routine. Listening to their reasoning, Liam's anger began to soften. He could see that they hadn't meant any harm. They only wanted to help him relax and rediscover his sense of balance. Eventually, a small smile broke through his frustration, and he let out a reluctant laugh, realizing how truly absurd the entire ordeal had been. In the end, Liam accepted their apologies and even thanked them for the unexpected reminder to take things less seriously. The experience left him with a newfound perspective on his writing journey, reminding him that a little laughter and time with friends might be just what he needed all along. Liam found himself unexpectedly grateful for the prank. What had initially been a terrifying experience turned into a reminder of what he had been missing in his life. His friend's strange attempt to shake him out of his isolation, though unconventional, had done exactly that. He realized how much he had let the pressures of his work take over, losing touch with the people and moments that mattered. As the laughter faded and they parted ways, Liam felt a renewed sense of calm. The following days were different. He allowed himself to take breaks, spend time with friends, and not obsess over every word in his novel. The fear and intensity he had felt while confronting the snake had been replaced with a refreshing sense of balance. In a way, the prank had served as a much-needed turning point, pushing him to reconnect with life outside of his work. With a lighter heart and clearer mind, Liam returned to his writing, knowing that he could face any challenge, not just by himself, but with friends by his side.